Okay, my name is Jessica Faust, and tonight I want to talk about risk and reward. In 2010, Haiti was struck by the most horrific earthquake the country had seen. It was 7.0, and they estimated over 100,000 people had died that day. As a 16-year-old, I went to Haiti and I saw these things, and I just felt powerless to do anything. I just saw the ruins of Haiti and felt like there was nothing I could do to control the access to resources these people had. I got back to the States and just realized that I had to do something bigger than myself to equip myself with those skills that I needed so that I was never in this situation again to feel this way. I never wanted to look at that situation and know I didn't have an avenue to help. So I got back and I was watching Extreme Home Makeovers with my mom, and they had redone a house for female veterans, and something about that episode spurred me to get more information, and not even a month later I was in a recruiter's office. And this was the biggest risk I had ever taken, but it also proved to be the biggest reward. I did not know what I was getting myself into. I had never ran 2 miles before joining. I had never been away from my family. This was a huge risk, and I didn't know what I was getting myself into. Anne Frank says how wonderful it is that nobody needs to wait a single moment before starting to improve the world. And this is kind of how I felt. I was dumped into this environment where there's high stress, no sleep, and cruddy food, doing things like jumping off 30-foot rappel towers and going through gas chambers, just physically and mentally demanding experiences I had never faced before. And these were huge things that developed my leadership afterwards. Like I said, this was the biggest risk of my life, and moving forward, and many tears, many pounds later, I did get to graduate, and my parents saw this transformed person, and I was not the same person I was when they dropped me off 3 months before. I had learned to keep going when things got hard. I had learned to look a challenge in the eyes and face it, and because of this big risk I took, I learned these things. A couple years later, my brother followed in my footsteps, and for the first time, I was able to see what that transformation looked like in someone else. I was able to see that leadership isn't always natural, that it can be developed and grown, and I got to see that for the first time when I got to watch my brother go through it. But the first step was taking a risk, and I found that my path here at Purdue, where I joined the ROTC program to take that experience I had and to continue it with my educational studies. Here we have a recognized ROTC program with over 150 cadets, where we give up our 6 a.m. mornings and our afternoons with lab to order to graduate to be an officer in the military. And we learn skills like discipline and professionalism, kind of like I had learned before, but really fine-tuning those skills to apply them to your everyday citizen life. I thought I was going to take my senior year easy, just coast through, but I was selected for a combat position, and these 2 women I really looked up to, Lieutenant Graver and there's a captain. They're both from West Point. I looked to them as my heroes because they showed me that I didn't have to feel like I had the lower hand being a female anymore, that I could look at this opportunity and take advantage of it in the situation I was given and go forward. I admire them so much that I wanted to be them for Halloween, but I respect them too much to do that. So like I said, at service, at some point somebody raised a heavy right hand and took an oath to serve their country at the possible cost of death. These people leave their comfy homes and their comfortable beds and go into different cultures where they don't know the land or the language. It's a huge risk they take, and it's something that less than 1% of our country has done before. This isn't a conventional thing, and sometimes war is ugly. Sometimes war is argued, but at some point these people were willing to see it to the end, take it into their hands. So here we are, Midwest, Purdue, and how does this all apply to where we're sitting right now? I hope not to be called up in the middle of this talk and go to war. So how do these skills apply to us? What can I do to apply these skills as I am right now as a Purdue student in the Lafayette community? A couple things I learned throughout this experience is to celebrate diversity, to take the risk, and to be a sacrificial giver. And I know that where I'm from in Lebanon, Indiana, everybody looks like me. There's no diversity. And so the first time in this military environment, I got to see how everyone brings this unique story and a unique life experience, and how we can use it as a tool to better everybody involved. We have this bad habit, and I'm guilty of myself, saying that you don't see the person, you just see the uniform. You know, everybody's the same. But I think it's also important not to lose who they are in those experiences, and we can really hone in on that. Something I learned is to take the risk. If you would have told me I was 30 days out from becoming an engineering officer, I would have laughed in your face. But because those women in that Extreme Home Makeover episode inspired me to do something and to take that risk, I went from being a really timid person to just being the leader I look up to being today. Something else I learned is to being a sacrificial giver. Any role model I think of, I just think about how they're putting other people first and taking the time to mentor and invest in the people underneath of them. And I would not be standing here if that wasn't my case as well. So I hope my experience and my goof ups and my situation here has kind of given you some tools. I hope that we can celebrate diversity, take a big risk, and give sacrificially. Thank you very much.